I want to now ask you something that I think might be one of the more important questions that we talk about on the podcast is that we know about the importance of culture. We talked briefly about it earlier here. You're working in a global nature. You have offices throughout the world. How do you help articulate, tell the story, manage the culture of the company? And how important is that in actually the talent acquisition strategy that you use?
That's a great question. So I'm going to do my best to answer the question you asked, but I'll give you examples. So we're rolling out what we call a talent value proposition. And as we get there, a big piece of what we did was interview over 500 of our employees globally in their own language to understand the experience of working for us and looked at what those similarities were. Like, I think what's really important when you talk about culture, it's not just who you aspire to be, but who are you? Why people join you? Why do they stay? How that works to make a difference. As we take that, and then I think it's celebrating those values when people show them, but it's having places in place to recognize the behaviors that you want to see. I think there's another aspect. It's being able to tell the story externally. So a big once we finalize what our new tele-value proposition is, or our first one as a company, it'll be we're looking at updates to our career page. What are those images? What shows this is what it's like to work here? We're looking at updating the communications that are automated that come out of our applicant tracking system because it all goes together. Your messaging has to all go together. We're looking at making sure as we send emails to candidates, all that information similar and how we communicate on social media. How are we communicating who we are? So I think a lot of it is how you celebrate success. The other piece that I find so fun, and I'll give an example, is about a week ago, I learned that our India office was off and got to learn about a really cool holiday. And I don't have the name of the holiday, but it's so cool because it's every January. And I'd never heard of it. And I worked with India for years, but it's the end of the winter solstice and the beginning of the change in season. And they celebrate the end of the winter solstice in the sun. And as part of it, they celebrate by going out and flying kites because it gives you that good vitamin D. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. It's so important when you do work culturally across the globe is to have those holidays. We're putting together a whole holiday calendar, but understanding those customs and those rituals and the really cool things. Another one of my favorite holidays in India is Brother Sister Day. I have two brothers and an only sister, and they do all kinds of cool stuff for their sisters. So I, of course, thought that was really cool. But I think you've got to understand the different cultures, the different customs, the different holidays, and have that be a part of who you are and take the time to learn about them. It's just such a it's invigorating to learn about how people live across the world.
It is. And to be able to share those stories and learn from those stories. And if you were to connect the dots specifically on the company culture and its impact on your ability to attract high performance candidates, how would you connect those dots?
It's a great question. I mean, for me, and we're still finalizing ours, one of the things that stands out to me with our executive team is I'm fortunate to work at Vontier. And at Vontier, we're in a business that is really focused in terms of making the world a better place. So we won a number of awards last year in terms of our environment sustainability, in terms of the alternative energy and some of the things we're doing. And knowing that is important to our chief executive team, our chief executive officer, our chief administrative officer, that whole team is focused on that. That's really a cool feeling to know you're working for a mission based company that is really focused on saying, as a result of what we do, we're not only making profit, but did we do things so that my kids have a better world?